Okay, so I owe you guys a video. Truth of the matter is, I had planned to make this video over the weekend, but some things happened, as things usually do. Had to work. Also had my granddaughter for part of the weekend, so, you know, I kind of got stuck doing work things and grandpa things. But I'm here now. I'm going to go over a few things, and you know, this ain't going to be like the most fantastic and thrilling video, but if you're keeping up with the Chaos Theory project, then I'm going to go over a lot of stuff in this video and show you some stuff that I just got in, things like that. So in the last video, we went over why my original plan wasn't going to work, you know, as far as sticking the turbos through the hood. I'm not going to recap, guys. You can go back and watch the last video if you don't know what I'm talking about, but basically we decided that the whole, you know, turbo sticking up through the hood thing, it wasn't going to work out. So I went with plan B, and I kind of explained it a little bit. And you know, a lot of you guys said, yeah, do plan B, and that's what I'm going to do. And I actually posted a picture of a little drawing that I doodled. I think I posted it everywhere. I put it on the group page, I put it on Instagram, and I put it on the, you know, the feed section of this YouTube channel. So some of you guys were like, what? I understand, I'm not an artist. You know, it wasn't the greatest picture, but I'm going to kind of go over what that picture represents. So please excuse the mess, but you might remember it from the last video. So, you know, it's been a mess. But basically, this is plan B, guys. This is where the turbos are going to be. They're going to be just like this. And, you know, obviously, these elbows are not going to work anymore. We're going to be getting rid of those. But we're going to have to make some bracket or some elbows coming off. I've already ordered some T3 flanges and a few other things. But basically, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have the turbos mounted between the engine and the radiator. Now, there's not really room here. I mean, there kind of is. I could probably get away with it a little bit on this side. On that side, not so much because of the upper radiator hose. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the radiator. I'm going to get a totally different radiator, which you'll be seeing in an upcoming video. And we're going to move the radiator. We're going to stand it up straight for one. Right now, from the factory, it's leaned back like that. So we're going to stand the radiator up straight, and we're going to move it up here under the cowl. You know, we'll notch us out a little hole here for our cap. Actually, the new radiator is not as wide, so it'll be there. And I want to give credit where credit is due. So when I started talking about looking for a smaller radiator, right here, Kart Racer number 8. I don't know if you guys can read that, but he says, I just ordered a 3-core radiator from eBay that should sit under the top lip where the radiator mounts. It's for a 84 through 90 Corvette, and it's also used for V8 S10 swaps. So thank you very much, Kart Racer number 8. That is exactly what we're getting. So I had a radiator company that actually had reached out to me about a month ago wanting me to do a review on their aluminum radiators. Perfect timing, because I need a smaller radiator. I've already contacted them. That's the radiator I'm going to get. It's actually going to be a radiator for an 84 through 90 Corvette, and it basically, it looks identical to this radiator. Well, I mean, it's aluminum, but you know, it's basically just like this radiator, you know, inputs, outputs, same spot and everything, but it's a full 5 inches narrower. So, you know, about 2.5 inches on each side. So it's actually only going to be, you know, it's going to come out to about right here on each side. And it's also a 2 full inches shorter. So we should be able to stand it up straight and put it under this area here, which is going to give us, you know, a whole lot more room, you know, from here all the way back to here. That should clear up plenty of room for our turbos up here. Now, some of you have made some suggestions. I'm going to go over why I'm not taking all. I am taking some of them, obviously, like the radiator. But some of you had suggested that I should flip the turbos around this way and let them breathe through here. There's a couple reasons I don't want to do that. I know the theory behind that. You know, you're afraid I'm going to be drawing all this hot air from behind the radiator. And that's probably true to a point. Ray and I have actually come up with a plan for that. And if you check out my really crappy drawing that I made, you're going to see in that really crappy drawing that what we're actually planning on doing is, once the turbos are mounted on either side here, we're probably going to take and run a 4-inch pipe, an elbow, aim straight down at the ground, possibly after going down toward the ground, aiming forward and maybe cutting into the little air dam that's in front of the radiator here, and, you know, putting some mesh over it, kind of making like a ram air effect. Totally unnecessary, since the turbos are going to be sucking in all the air they can handle anyway, but it might be a way to get cool air. My thought process here is, as long as I get down, hot air rises. So as long as we angle the elbows down kind of below the level of the radiator, it's going to be drawn from the cool air that's moving under the car anyway. So I think we'll be good there. And what it's going to allow me to do by having them facing in instead of out is, I'm going to be able to come off the back of these turbos and pretty much have a not straight shot. It's going to have to angle down, but it's pretty much just going to come straight out the back of the turbo, angle down and forward slightly, and come right back out the holes that we had already cut in each fender there. So yeah, that ought to be great, guys. And then as far as the wastegates, what I'm planning is to have the wastegates mounted right here. Of course, they'll be coming off of our you know, our elbows, our new ones that we're going to make. But there'll be a wastegate right here on each side. The wastegate will come down, and I haven't decided yet if I want to punch another hole right here next to the hole that's already there to run the wastegate dump out, or I might just put the wastegate dump, you know, way up here higher in the fender or something like that. Haven't really decided on that yet. We'll just we'll see what happens. But by doing things the way that I'm planning on doing them, it's going to require a lot less hacking, a lot less fabrication, and most importantly, the exhaust coming out the back of the turbo isn't going to have to make a series of ridiculous bends to get out the fender. You know, if I would have faced them facing out, the exhaust is still going to have to either loop around and come out the fender, which is going to generate hot air anyway, so we're still going to be sucking hot air, or it's going to have to, you know, crisscross. But either way, there's going to be a hot ass exhaust pipe right here, right underneath where the turbos are breathing anyway. So I really don't think we would get much benefit as far as cool air by facing the turbos the other way. I've seen the turbos face like this in, you know, lots of different applications, different cars. So I think we're good here. And what's really important here is this is going to allow us to run our new hood. So everything will be kind of tucked in nice and neat. I know a lot of you guys are worried about me, you know, teeing straight off with the wastegate instead of like putting it in the flow. It's like this, guys. I've run it this way before. In Steppenwolf, it was pretty much that way, and I was controlling a 7875 turbo with a single 38 millimeter. Yes, if you guys go back and watch the Steppenwolf videos, our turbo C10, we had one wastegate on that 7875, and it was a tiny ass 38 millimeter wastegate, and it had no trouble controlling the boost on that engine. So I'm really not worried because we're using 50 millimeter wastegates. If anything, I'm worried about being overgated. Like I'm worried about these wastegates being too big and letting out too much air, and the turbo not being able to you know, reach maximum potential because the wastegates are so freaking huge. And if that happens, what we'll do is we'll probably step down to dual 44s and, you know, just get some little bolt-on adapters or something like that. But my point is, I think a lot of people kind of, I don't know, it depends on who you ask, but a lot of people, I think, over-exaggerate just how important it is to have the wastegate, you know, in the line of flow. If I can do it, I will, guys. All right, I'm just going to say that, you know, if I can manage to pop it off like that, I will. But in the long run, it's most likely just going to be shot off to the side here, and then the pipe coming out and dumping out there. Now, You can have your own opinion about that, and that's fine. You can tell me I'm an idiot or whatever, but we'll find out, you know. When it's done, we'll find out. If it works great, then it works great. If it don't, we'll change it. That's the way it's always been on this channel. That's the way it'll always be. As far as the drains, this has been a point of contention for me. And a lot of you guys made the suggestion, and believe it or not, I was actually leaning this way already. But a lot of you were saying to get the timing cover, you know, that has the little nipples on each side of the harmonic balancer down there, or of the damper, or whatever you want to call it, you know, so we could run a drain from each turbo to each side. Here's the problem with that. And guys, that's a fantastic idea. I want to say that right off the bat. Fantastic idea. So fantastic, I'd already thought of it. But hold on, let me turn this light on. I don't know if this is going to help. No, it's not. Well, here's the issue. Let's see if I can show you with this camera. Now, over here on this side, you can see, boom, there's all kinds of room. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm just going to keep saying boom, boom, boom. You probably can't see, but there is a ton of room. I mean, I could easily get to a drain bung on the passenger side of the timing cover there. That wouldn't be a problem. That would probably work out perfect. The issue is on the driver's side. As you can see over here on the driver's side, yes, we have our alternator, our low mount alternator in the way. And as you can see, we've got perfect access if the drain line was coming in from the top, because I believe they put those bungs like, I don't know if you can see where my finger's at, but they put them like right there. I think there's several different companies that make them. One of them I'm not going to mention because it's a direct competitor of one of my sponsors. But there are several different companies that, you know, that make those timing covers, and they weld the bungs in. If the turbo was a little higher, and it might work anyway, guys. If we can get the turbo mounted up high enough, we may be able to drape the drain line over the top of the alternator. I'm dang sure not going to be able to wrap it in from the front because we've got a belt. It would just be too close to the belt and the pulley there. I'd be afraid that if it moved or twitched ever so slightly, the pulley would rub a hole in the oil line, and then we'd have all kinds of issues. But depending on how high we get this turbo up, we may be able to drop the line over there. The problem is, I don't think we'll be able to drop it with a 45-degree fitting on the bottom of the turbo. We would most definitely have to use a 90-degree fitting. And most of you know, or if you don't, you should know, running a 90 directly off the bottom of your center section, unless you are using a scavenge pump, it's usually a bad idea, because what it'll do is it'll back up the oil flow, and that's when you start, you know, pouring smoke out your exhaust, and, you know, the oil starts blowing past the seals in the turbo. We'll try, guys. So here's my game plan. I'm probably going to get one of those timing covers and put it on here, and we'll try it. If I can't do a 45 on the bottom of this turbo, that turbo is not a problem, guys. It ought to work perfect for that. This is the one that's going to be the issue. If I can't use the 45, we'll try the 90. If we start having issues pushing oil and, you know, blowing smoke out the turbo on this side, I do have a scavenge pump. You guys that have been around for a while, you may remember that when we did the, was it like 4 years ago, when we did the turbo setup for Project Steppenwolf, I actually cut down an old STS rear mount turbo kit. Now, one thing I got with that turbo kit, I got the the scavenge pump that used to pump the oil from the back of the car all the way to the front. I still have that pump. So worst case scenario, if I cannot get good drain flow out of these turbos, the backup plan for that is to just run both turbo lines into one dash 10 line and run the scavenge pump. You know, we'll mount it up here somewhere. I don't freaking know where. But we'll run the scavenge pump, and I will just freaking say screw this cover here and probably just pump it into the drain bung on one side of our TSP oil pan there. Or I might still use it, you know, I could just pump it into this side. I could pump it in anywhere, guys. That's the good thing about a scavenge pump is, I mean, I could pump it all the way back up and put a nipple on here and just pump it right back in through the fill if I wanted to. I mean, it's going to put pressure on it, so it'll be able to actually draw the oil out. I'm trying to avoid running the pump, guys, and don't ask me why, but I've just got this thing about scavenge pumps. I don't like running them. I don't like listening to them whine. It's the same reason that I prefer to use in-tank pumps instead of inline fuel pumps. I don't like listening to all the freaking noise. But, you know, my point is, worst case scenario, if we have to do it, I've got the stuff to do it. So we're no longer worried about the drain lines. At this point, we're waiting on our radiator. That won't be the next thing you see on the channel, but that will be the next thing turbo related. Because what I have decided to do is, instead of just, I don't like this car sitting. So instead of just tearing the car all apart and doing all this turbo stuff at once, I've decided what I want to do is do all the supporting mods and preparation first. By that I mean, the next thing you're going to see in relation to the turbo, you're going to see us relocate the radiator. After that, we're probably going to do a whole new fuel system. I'm going to go ahead. I've discussed this in previous videos. I am going to be running a sump tank, or a surge tank rather. We're going to run it in the back of the car, inside the car. I'm not even screwing around with trying to retrofit, you know, my dual 450s into the stock tank. There's plenty of reasons for that. I'm not going to go into them all. You can make your argument as to why I should just do that. But bottom line is, the thing that did in Project Steppenwolf, our Turbo C10, was fuel washing away from the pump pickup. We were sucking air in. We kept having extreme lean pops from that, and the last lean pop, it done it in. You know, I don't want to even screw around with this car. I don't want to even try doing factory in-tank bullshit like I did on Steppenwolf. We're going straight to the good stuff. We're going to run a surge tank. That way I never have to worry about, you know, aerating the fuel or fuel pump washout. We're just going to eliminate that right from the get-go. The bad thing about that is it's going to cost some money. I want to run a dash 10 line. And keep in mind, guys, you know, we're not going to be making enough power to need a dash 10 line initially, but I'm planning for the end goal for this car. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to run a dash 10 line from the surge tank all the way up to the front. We're probably going to do a dash 8 return. That shit's going to be expensive. It's going to cost some money. The surge tank alone is going to cost me around $400 to $500, depending on which one I go with. Thanks to Phil Betthauser, we already have our dual Walbro 450 pumps up there, so I don't have to buy them. Now, with all that said, yeah, it's going to take us every bit of the winter to get this thing twin turboed. That's okay, guys. I told you this was an overwinter project. I don't want this car sitting though, so what we're going to do, well, I just told you what we're going to do. And the reason we're going to do it that way is so that I can still drive this thing if I want to. If I want to get out and play around off track or whatever. I don't want the car to be sitting here immobile for the next freaking 4 months, you know. So if we do it like I'm talking about, we'll do the supporting mods first. I can still be driving the car the whole time. I can still be having fun with the car. So that kind of leads me to what I'm going to be doing in the next few videos. My big priority right now is getting this hood put on. So as you can see, I ordered a Motion Raceworks You guys think I'm a big spender, huh? But the fact of the matter is, all last week they had a Black Friday event, and they had like 20-30% off all kinds of stuff, guys. So I actually bought 2 different things while Motion Raceworks had that deal going on. But this is their Zeus rail, and it's specifically for this car. And you can see it goes all the way from that corner all the way down to right there, and it allows us to put 5 Zeus fasteners running down each side of the hood. I'm still not comfortable with that. I still like to have something in the front, so I'm kind of up in the air right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to get 2 more Zeus fasteners to go in the front here, or if I'm just going to put, you know, use our hood pins that we had bought originally. Guys, tell me what you think. Should I do 2 more Zeus fasteners in the front, or just say screw it and stick hood pins in the front? The hood pins would actually be easier, but I'll get your guys' opinion on it. But with the kit, you got 2 rails, and kudos to Motion Raceworks. They actually shipped the rails saran wrap to a piece of wood. I can only assume that's after having, you know, UPS or FedEx trash a bunch of these aluminum rails, bend them all to hell. They probably figured that out. But it came with the rails. It comes with 10 Zeus fasteners. I paid a little extra and got the black instead of the raw aluminum. You know, it comes with all your pop rivets, the Zeus fastener springs, the rivets for those, and of course the rivets for the rails. Guys, I'm not going to go too much into detail here. I will be doing a video very soon because I want this hood on the car. I'll be doing a video very soon installing these Motion Raceworks Zeus rails. I do want to say this. This hood, I talked about that in the last video. I still do not know if it's thin enough for these Zeus fasteners. I may have to, these are the thickest Zeus fasteners that Motion Raceworks sells, and they may still not be thick enough for this hood. I don't want to shave the hood down anymore, so if we can't, you know, if I get going on this and these won't work, I'll just have to order some longer ones from elsewhere. Another thing I got from Motion Raceworks during their Black Friday event is this. This is Motion Raceworks solution to the flex fuel sensor. So the flex fuel sensor, obviously it goes in here, and what's really cool about this is it's dual channel. Like, a big problem people have is you don't want to run the flex fuel sensor on your return line because it can aerate and it can throw off the readings, meaning, you know, there's just air. The line's not completely full all the time. So it's best to have it on your feed line. The problem with that is it's just a 3/8. It's like -6. So if you need more fuel than -6 can provide, then your flex fuel sensor ends up being your choking point. There are companies that put together, and it's a company that I use for all my fuel fittings. They make this big elaborate thing with all these different fittings screwed together to do the same thing that this does. And the problem is it ends up being really long, and there ends up being like 20 freaking possible leak points. Okay, Motion Raceworks solved that with this. So basically your flex fuel sensor goes here, but if you look inside there, I'll try to turn my light on here. I don't know if you can see. You probably can't. But if you look inside there, there's actually 2 channels in here. There's the channel that goes through the flex fuel sensor, and then there's a bypass that runs up through here. And supposedly you can run this on up to -10 hose, which is what I ordered the fittings for, -10 fittings. You can run this for up to -10 hose with 0 restriction, guys. So basically this gives you the ability to run a flex fuel sensor and you know, support well in excess of 1,000 horsepower E85 without worrying about restricting it. And it also comes with this nice bracket here, which allows you to mount it. We're probably going to put this underneath the car. Anyway, there's that. So we won't be putting this on until we do our dash 10 fuel system. And then of course, one of the next things that needs to go on the car is our UMI. Guys, I've been procrastinating on this forever. This is our adjustable anti-roll bar. You guys have noticed the car dragging the back right corner when I take off. This is going to give us the ability to adjust that out, get the car level, you know, putting power to both sides of the car instead of just that back right rear. So we'll be doing an installation video on this as well. That's kind of a deal I got worked out with UMI. I need to do a full install video on that, so that's coming, guys. The turbo stuff's coming too. Ray's gonna be coming over here. In case you didn't catch it in the last video, Ray is retired now. I don't know if I even said that in the last video, but Ray has officially retired, which means he's bored, he's got time to do stuff, and he wants to come over here and help me with this. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get Ray over here. You guys can hang out with him a little more as I hang out with him. We've also got a few little things that we want to do to the DR Nova soon too, so stick around for that. Hopefully you were able to watch this whole ramble without falling asleep. If you were, good for you guys. Hell yeah, out freaking standing. But for now, I'm actually going to get everything put back together so I can drive this thing, because I've kind of got something I'm wanting to do in it, possibly this coming weekend. So stick around for the turbo stuff, for the hood stuff, for the fuel stuff, all that stuff. But until then, get out in the garage, get something done on your project, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.